Historically, it is well established that upon forming majority, the mass majority, usually the mass majority is subject to making mistake politically, financially, and society-wise. We have many examples in history. We saw it in Soviet Union. We saw it in China. We saw it in Cuba and many other countries. Even Plato and Socrates, when defining the democracy, they warned us of mass majority and demagoguery that might ruining the democratic process. And we also have noticed and witnessed that in the 20th centuries. I'm trying to bring two parallel events and compare it and describe it that how we as human being, we as a leader of the governments, we as a society that seek freedom, equality for everybody, either didn't see it or made a mistake or didn't act appropriately. It is important to decide whether as an individual or as a governmental system or government leaders, that when to listen and when not to listen. It is equally important to listen, and then equally important not to listen some narratives, because not all the narratives are set to improve the outcome and guarantee the better outcome comparing to the worst outcome. Two parallel is very important. 1914 and 1906. 1914, Hitler joined the army during the World War I. Ideology was born. He did not mention it to anybody. There is no any written documentation that he is talking about the superior race, or he is going to do what he did in 1939. In 1906, another guy, Sayyid Qutb, was born and start spreading the issue of jurisprudence, Velayat Faqih, which resulted in Revolution of Iran in 1979, and also fight and another kind of revolution in Egypt, which resulted in establishing Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood was established by Sayyid Qutb between 1906 and 1966. The ideology was born. The ideology was born in 1914. The ideology was born in 1906. The ideology of Hitler resulted in his involvement in German army later. He joined as leader in 1931 and 33, become Führer at that point. Between 1906 and 1966, Sayyid Qutb became a huge leader of the Muslim, and two people become influenced by him, Ayatollah Khomeini and Ayatollah Khamenei. Hitler ended up by getting involved in fight in 1939, invading Poland, and then resulted in World War II, that eventually ended by American by dropping atomic bomb on Hiroshima. Hiroshima, population of 300 to 350, lost 166,000, and then 3 days later, a city or a state next to Hiroshima, Nagasaki, another 80,000. So that by itself resulted in almost 250,000 deaths by an ideology. Although, to the world credit, to the world leader credit, there wasn't that much of the predictability of Hitler. But now they were involved in it. At the completion of the World War II, 70 to 80 million people were killed, civilian and army and servicemen. And the world went through horrific genocide of the Jewish, which 7 million, 8 million, 10 million of them were the Jewish, with that ideology of superiority in the race. Since 1906 and prior to that, 1920, the Islamic superiority, involvement in the government in many countries occurred based on Sayyid Qutb, and subsequently by another guy by the name Nawab Safavi, that they were both advocating for jurisprudence and vilayat faqih, meaning that one person going to rule the country, the whole world, before the hidden imam or occult imam reappears. And according to them, they gonna pave the way for his entrance, even if half a global population being killed. And they have said it many, 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 many times, in any rate. Following 1906 and 1920 to 1942, when the Hitler was involved in pursuing his ideology, Nawab Safavi, Ayatollah Khomeini, and Ayatollah Khamenei, that at that point they were young individuals, they were pursuing their ideology of jurisprudence, and then resulted in revolution of 1979. And it was not possible without support of American, and the one that fell for their narrative was President Carter. Not learning lesson from the ideology of Hitler, they thought the religious ideology is softer. They thought Hitler was an army person, but Khomeini and Khamenei or Safavi were not army person, but they were men of God. And now, in 2026, we are witnessing the same thing. Ideology made the world more dangerous. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. Millions are killed in Iran. Million kills in Syria based on jurisprudence and vilayat faqih. There are 2 billion Muslim in the world. 200 million to 250 million are Shiite. Overall, all of them, one way or another, believe in Islam internationalism and governing the world by God. And 250 million of them believe in jurisprudence and waiting for a coup d'etat. So now you have two ideology. Hitler created disaster, and now we are at the crossroad of making decision. If we do not make a right decision, God knows when, 2 years later, 25 years later, we're going to end up by a global disaster. Already we are witnessing it in England, France, Sweden, Germany, Turkey. Not much in America, but we will if we do not open our eyes. World is a very dangerous place, but we must be smarter. So when it comes to the ideology, particularly with experiences of 1933 and 1906 and 1979, we should be smarter. We should listen, and then we should decide when not to listen if the narrative is wrong. And majority always make mistakes. Remember that.